Art has served as a form of expression since the manifestation of thought. Its aspects and characteristics were molded based off the values and interests of each respective society, and truly served as a form of representation. In New York City, when walking down the streets, we often think of art as being any statue that we see, or gallery that we happen to walk by. Of course, these are truly examples of art, however, it is not only limited to these forms. In Manhattan, if you ever paused and decided to look around, you would notice that there was art everywhere. This art is known as architecture, which is responsible for the way the entire city looks, the aura that it creates, and the images that pop into your head whenever you think about Manhattan, whether it be the Empire State, the Grand Central Terminal, or the Chrysler Building. Architecture is an expression that allows these entities to exist. On that note, imagine a time when the notion that these very monuments were not considered to have any type of value, rather than the materialistic ones they inherently possess. A terminal such as Penn Station not having any iconic value and being judged solely on its practicality. This is exactly what had happened before architecture truly began to be recognized for the importance it played in defining a society, the realization of the value of architecture as an art. This movement was defined as one to preserve any structures that were considered to be of historical value, much in the same way museums around the world attempt to preserve art. Art is something much more than the form it takes, but is what defines a people and their values. In 1910, Penn Station had been constructed by the architect Stanford White, and was truly considered to be a masterpiece in itself. The people adored the location and viewed it as something that they took pride in. It represented them as a people. Due to its impracticality, however, and the need for more space, it was demolished, and the location that was viewed as being one of the most beautiful areas in Manhattan had been lost. Immediately after, a movement known as historical preservation had begun to ensure that this type of destruction would never be able to touch those very locations that every New Yorker viewed as having a true iconic value. It aimed to preserve the heritage of the city by conserving multiple structures. The metropolis strives to reach a mythical point where the world is completely fabricated by man, so that it absolutely coincides with his desires. With the strong support of this artistic movement, structures such as the Grand Central Terminal, the Empire State, Brooklyn Bridge, Flatiron Building, and the Woolworth Building, along with many others, are now recognized as being a true form of art. Not something that one with power could decide to demolish upon their request, but structures that are protected because of the tremendous value they hold in representing New York. The New York Historical Preservation Act of 1980 declared that historical preservation was to be the public policy and within the public interest of the state. To imagine a world without this type of thinking would most definitely prove to be something that took the essence out of the lives we are living, without any form of representation and essentially the form of expression. To have this art be undermined within society is something that should never happen again, and for that reason, the movement to preserve the architectural importance of these structures is responsible for the uniqueness we exhibit as a city. This quality is something that art in itself strives to accomplish, creating works with meaning that can be appreciated by others.